Every time a user logs into a server, opens a file, or sends a packet across a network, they leave a trace. In forensic science, this foundational concept is known as Locard's exchange principle. The rule states that anyone or anything entering a crime scene takes something with them and leaves something of themselves behind. In the digital realm, those footprints take the form of logs, metadata, and fragments of memory. When a system is compromised, a standard IT response usually focuses on patching the hole and getting the network back online. Computer forensics operates under a different mandate. The goal here is identifying, preserving, and recovering those digital artifacts. The challenge is that digital evidence is exceptionally fragile. If an IT administrator simply reboots a compromised server to clear an error, they instantly wipe the volatile memory in the RAM, destroying the exact data needed to identify the attacker. For any recovered data to have probative value, meaning it can actually be used to prove a fact in legal proceedings, it has to be acquired through strict, methodologically sound procedures. Successfully prosecuting a cybercrime requires an organization to transition from reactive IT troubleshooting to a rigorous, end-to-end digital evidence lifecycle. Closing a backdoor is a short-term fix. If the underlying evidence is rendered inadmissible in court during the recovery process, the attacker can avoid legal consequences entirely. To understand how this lifecycle operates, we must look at the period before an incident occurs. This shift in the timeline reveals how an investigation's success depends on data generated during normal, daily operations. This pre-incident posture is called forensic readiness. It is an architectural strategy where a network is designed from the ground up to anticipate and support an eventual investigation. The objective is to maximize an organization's ability to use digital evidence while minimizing the costs and business disruptions that usually occur during a reactive security audit. This chart outlines the goals of forensic readiness. The aim is to conduct investigations at a proportional cost without interfering with workflows. To achieve this, the network must maintain secure storage and a chain of custody to track how data is handled. This architecture protects against two distinct categories of threats: external actors trying to break in, and internal attacks executed by employees or contractors. Insider attacks are difficult to detect because the user is operating with authorized credentials. Without pre-existing forensic logging capabilities, their malicious actions are often indistinguishable from legitimate work. Knowing exactly what to log requires regulatory awareness. A readiness plan dictates how long certain types of data must be stored to meet legal obligations while respecting privacy rights. Forensic readiness transforms an organization from a passive target into a proactive environment designed to capture the evidence necessary for legal action. When a security breach is finally detected, the traps have been tripped, and the lifecycle moves to data acquisition. Traditionally, this involved an approach known as post-mortem forensics. In a post-mortem analysis, the compromised system is powered off. Investigators focus on acquiring and analyzing the data frozen on the physical storage media, usually by creating a bit-for-bit duplicate of the hard drive. The limitation here is that powering down the machine instantly purges all volatile memory. Anything that wasn't saved directly to the disk is lost. Active incident response often requires live system forensics instead. Live forensics operates while the computer is still running, capturing the contents of RAM, enabling the analysis of active network connections, decryption keys, and running malware processes that exist only in memory. This approach carries a risk. Simply running data extraction tools on a live system alters its state. Memory is overwritten and files are modified by the investigator's actions, requiring extreme caution to preserve the integrity of the evidence. The choice between live and post-mortem acquisition determines whether the most crucial, volatile evidence survives the initial triage. Once the data is acquired, the team faces a scale problem. An enterprise-level acquisition can generate terabytes of raw data, far too much for manual review. Filtering this volume requires electronic discovery, or e-discovery. This is the formalized process of identifying, collecting, and preserving specific electronic devices and datasets as evidence. Looking at this matrix of e-discovery team roles, you can see this process requires a multidisciplinary team, anchored by a legal expert. The attorney defines the rules for gathering evidence. Once those legal parameters are set, the technical staff steps in. IT professionals and processing personnel execute those instructions. They collect the media and run processing tools to strip away irrelevant files. The filtered data is then fed into specialized e-discovery software tools designed to analyze artifacts and extract the most pertinent evidence. Throughout this collection, personnel must track the users, their remote work status, and ensure backup disks are secured. By clearly dividing responsibilities, e-discovery separates the technical act of finding data from the legal act of verifying its relevance. Even with a structured team, investigators eventually hit a bottleneck. Manually reviewing millions of processed files and system logs takes too long for active cases. To bypass this, teams deploy artificial intelligence as an algorithmic triage tool, separating evidentiary signal from noise at an enterprise scale. For emails and chat logs, natural language processing algorithms perform sentiment analysis and topic modeling to identify suspicious conversations. For raw data, automated pattern recognition sifts through vast datasets, identifying anomalous login behaviors or suspicious files hidden within the drive. Machine learning models can also perform predictive analysis, learning from past forensic outcomes to forecast which systems might be vulnerable to future attacks. This automation does not replace the human investigator. The human must supervise these tools, review the logic, and validate the algorithmic conclusions. AI's value in digital forensics is achieving speed to admissibility, processing data faster without sacrificing the procedural standards required by law. Every phase of this pipeline leads to the presentation of evidence in a court of law or an administrative hearing. The digital footprint left behind by the attacker, the trace governed by Locard's exchange principle, has now been acquired, cryptographically hashed, and legally validated. Now, the forensic investigator takes on the role of an expert witness. The investigator must take complex infrastructure concepts, like memory volatility or pattern recognition, and translate them into clear, structured reports that a judge or jury can understand. Without this translation, even the most technically brilliant data recovery is useless in a legal proceeding. The investigator acts as a bridge between the complex realm of technology and the strict requirements of the justice system. Technical security can block an intrusion, but only a rigorous forensic lifecycle allows an organization to identify the attacker and hold them accountable in court. One stops the breach, the other provides the evidence needed to ensure it has legal consequences.